Today is a revolutionary day, and we are going to be talking today about Chris Oyakilome and the God of Mammon. But it's not just today we are going to be talking about this. We are going to be doing this for as a series. It's going to be a series that we are going to be doing for the next 10 days. So just the same as we did with Pastor Adeboye. So we are going to be doing an analysis of the teachings of Chris Oyakilome and his Christ Embassy Church. It's going to be a kind of review of their teachings and practices that will show you that that is not a church at all. At best, it's a personal empire that is dedicated to Mammon. So, but you don't believe me. You don't need to believe me. Let's believe the facts. We are going to look at some videos. I hope they will not remove all the videos from the internet before I get to all of them. But we are going to be playing some videos, and those videos, and we are going to analyze them, and then you can believe what does the video say and what does the Bible say. Before I start showing you the video of Chris and analyzing everything, let me start by saying that I love Chris. You know, I don't care what are the wrong things he's done or he's doing or he's practicing. My whole aim is that maybe through my effort, we'll be able to help him to correct some things and to be able to come back to the mainstream and come back to Christ. I think maybe it will not be a big secret for me to say this because everything is on the internet. Of course, most of you know that Chris is divorced with his wife, and that's a tragedy, and nobody should rejoice about that. That's a personal tragedy, right? But what I want to talk about is the fact that is the statement that Pastor Anita said to some very close people that to them that I got to get information from. And this person that is very close to the two of them, both to Chris and Anita, is a person that they both regard as a mentor. And when this mentor was trying to convince Reverend Anita to stay with Pastor Chris and not divorce because of the scandal that could bring and because of all the noise, she said for 15 years she had actually endured and paid a lot of price to close her eyes at a lot of wrong things that were happening, in their family. So I'm not going to go into that because my expose is not about personal life and it's not about even personality. It's all about doctrines and practices. But there is a statement that Anita made to that man who is like a mentor to her. And she said, "Bishop, I wouldn't have left. I would have stayed with Chris if not for one fact. I discovered that Chris is not, despite all the many points, many things that were very wrong as a Christian." She said she would have even endured that. She, of course, when she filed for the divorce in the court, she's talking about multiple affairs that her husband is having. That's just the court thing. And she said she would have endured that. So that woman should be a golden woman. I've never met her, but for enduring all that for 15 years. But she said, the only reason why I'm living now is because, the reason why I endured that for 15 years is because I was thinking that it's just a weakness. But Pastor Chris, is still possible to bring him back to Christ. But now, the reason why she had now decided to leave is that, according to her, Pastor Chris has totally left Christ and doesn't have anything to do with Jesus Christ anymore. He's left Christ. He's abandoned Christ. And that she doesn't see any way or possibility of bringing Pastor Chris back to the path of salvation. And that's why she just thinks that, no, nobody can help him. I mean, she couldn't help him. Maybe God could help him, but that she couldn't help him. So what I'm saying, what I'm doing, and the reason I'm doing this is that maybe this could help him, or maybe the shake or the shaking of his empire or the crumble of his empire could save his soul. But my goal is not to crumble the empire. My goal is just to help him realize that something is terribly wrong and to help him come back to the doctrine. I don't care what he's doing in his private life. I'm talking about doctrine now and practices, okay? Because that is what affects the body of Christ. And that is what affects the image of Jesus. And that is what, what is affecting the destiny of many, many believers. So, but besides Pastor Chris, I'm going to do this series on Oyedepo and Matthew Ashimolowo as well. And people right now are very angry at me. Especially, people are calling me from my old friends, and people are saying, I'm hearing news, people are saying that Pastor Sunday has lost it, I've backslidden, I've gone into error, I'm insane, and all kind of rumors and news and talk is going on there. But I must do what I must do, because I know it is right. Even though the whole world might be saying that I've gone a wire and I've lost my mind. But I want to show you a video today. I will not start with Chris. I'm going to start with a very interesting video that somebody sent to me. That will convince all of you, even if it do not convince you. But it's a danger that is on the way for Nigeria right now. Nigeria is at the verge of a big danger of what is demonstrated and shown in this video. We must also watch this video. Then after this video, we'll come back to Pastor Chris, because if we don't do something urgently now to stop this downslide of the Nigerian church, in the next 50 years or 30 years, we will forget that there was ever a revival in Nigeria. We will forget that Nigeria was ever a Christian country. We will forget that Nigeria ever had millions of people, that Nigeria ever had these churches that were having millions of people. Nigeria will definitely become a Turkey. Not because of the Muslims, but because of the Christians. Right now, everybody in Nigeria is afraid that Nigeria will become like Turkey. And that because Nigeria is going to become a Turkey, that is that we should fight the Muslims and the terrorists, that we have to do something. No. We ourselves, we hand over Christianity and the church and Nigeria to the Muslims without a fight. The Muslims will not need to do anything. What we do against the scriptures and against the word of God itself is enough to make the Muslims and take over Nigeria. And secularism and atheism will take over Nigeria if we don't right now stop the downfall of the gospel in our country. Let's go ahead and have a look at the video.
Just become a Muslim. Some people, when you hear someone say, I am a Muslim, I want to accept Islam, people will say the person is doing because of money. As a matter of fact, where I am coming from is where there is money. When you hear the former governor of Ebonyi State, Dr. Sam Ebu, is my uncle. So, my father is a district superintendent of a church in Abuja. But I will not mention the church. No. For security reasons, yes. So one of the reasons why I want to tell you, I was pastoring in Abuja, and I was one of the persons that hated Islam. As a matter of fact, when I was a Christian, I cannot give indulgence with what my pastors here have given. I cannot sit in the midst of Muslims to argue something. But one of the things that happened, I have an encounter with Allah. Not that somebody came to preach to me and said, become a Muslim. But it came to a time, there is something that transpired between I and my general overseer. And that thing that transpired, we did not fight. He loved me more than any other pastors in the church. But there's one thing he asked me to do. I say, I will not compromise in doing it. Instead of compromising in involving in this atrocity, I will better live the Christianity. That night, I slept. I had an encounter. The encounter I had was I saw 5 persons. I was sitting in their middle, and they were having beers. Some of their beers were...
Stop. Let's I want us to do some analysis of what we are hearing so far. This is a pastor. This is a Nigerian Igbo man. I mean, and for Igbo man to become a Muslim, that for me is a big tragedy. It's a big thing for Nigerians, if they know. East Nigeria is the Igbo land, Eastern Nigeria. And that Igbo land is our last hope in Nigeria. It's our stronghold. It's the stronghold of Christianity in Nigeria. The eastern part of Nigeria is the hope of Nigeria, in the sense of is the most concentrated part of Nigeria with Christians. Is the most Christian part of Nigeria. So it's the stronghold of Christianity in Nigeria. The Igbo land is the stronghold of Christianity. An Igbo man is not born. It's very difficult to find an Igbo man that is born a Muslim. But this one definitely is not born a Muslim, and he's saying it. This man was not just born a Christian. He was a pastor. This man was a pastor. Not of Catholic Church, not of mainstream Protestant churches, of Pentecostal church. This man was, so what the evil that the Pentecostal churches are bringing to Nigerian society, our own hands will drive away all people from Pentecostal churches. We ourselves will drive them to Islam if we are not careful. We, with our own hands, will drive all these people to Islam because of the atrocities in Christianity. If anybody doesn't say, if we don't come out and say what these pastors are practicing is not Christianity, please guys, young man, if anybody has been able to tell this man that what you saw your pastor doing is not Christianity, that is not Christianity, he would have known that no, the thing he thought was wrong was not Christianity. That was not Christianity. Because if you brand Christianity as the Nigerian version of Christianity, if you say that is Christianity, everybody will say, if this is Christianity, I don't want to have anything to do with it. But unfortunately, the younger Nigerians who are who are below 40 years old, they don't know what Christianity means or looks like anymore, because they were born at a later time. Just like the ones who are 50 years old, who are below 50, don't know what Nigeria is, when Nigeria used to be 1-to-1 with $1 naira and dollar, and $1 and £1 used to be one. But Nigerians don't remember that. Nigerians don't remember that because they were born. So they don't know that Nigeria. Just like they don't know that Nigeria. So the same way, the Christians that are below 40 in Nigeria now, they don't know that Christianity that we used to know in the 70s and 80s. So because they don't know that Christianity, they will now say, is this Christianity? We would rather be an atheist. Is this Christianity? We would rather be a Muslim. And that is why right now, urgently, that's why I did a series, the urgent measures to rescue the African church. Urgent measures to rescue the African church. And these things that I'm doing, it is still part of the urgent measures to rescue the African church. Can you see all the atrocities that Pastor Adeboye himself is perpetrating? You have seen that too last week. But this one that I'm going to be handling this week is worse than Pastor Adeboye like 100 times. Can anything be worse than what we have seen with Pastor Adeboye? It's like nothing could be worse. What Pastor Adeboye what he is perpetrating in his ministry is like the height of, ungodliness and unrighteousness, and the anti-Christianity. But right now, this one I'm going to be dealing with this week is much worse than that one. But if that is worse, if this one, Pastor Chris, is worse than what we saw last week, then there is no Christianity in Nigeria. And if we don't stop and say, no, this is not Christianity, this is not Christianity, let's tell you that it's not Christianity. Then all these youth, they go into that church and they begin to see all the atrocities that are going on in the churches. And they will say, no, we don't want to have anything with this Christianity. We would rather be unbelievers, or we would rather go and be Muslims. And then all kind of demons will be giving them dreams and revelations like this one is talking about right now. Okay, let's start all over again.
Some people, when you hear someone say, I am a Muslim, I want to accept Islam, people will say the person is going because of money. As a matter of fact, where I am coming from is where there is money. When you hear the former governor of Ebonyi State, Dr. Sam Ebu, he is my uncle. So my father is a district superintendent of a church in Abuja.
Stop.
But I will.
His father. Did he say his father? The uncle. No, let's hear that a little bit. Yeah.
Of Ebonyi State, Dr. Sam Ebu, is my uncle. So my father is a district superintendent of a church in Abuja.
Stop. That is his father. So his uncle, he was a governor in Nigeria, which means this guy is even from the upper class of Nigeria society. He's from the elite. With money, with influence, with family name, and that didn't stop him. The love of money didn't stop him. The reputation of his family didn't stop him to go and accept Islam. The scandal didn't stop him. We are in trouble, guys. We need to stop the evil that is called church in Nigeria right now. We need to stop the evil that is called church in Nigeria. If we don't stop this evil, we are a goner as a country. We are all going to be Ismailized or Islamatized or whatever. You know, we are going to become Islam country very fast. Everybody is going to turn to other gods. And his father is the GO, or, a big man in the church world in Abuja, of a big ministry in Abuja. His father, general superintendent. That is like GO. And he turned his back because of some atrocities that he saw in the church. Let's continue.
And I will not mention the church. No. For security reasons. So one of the reasons why I want to tell you, I was pastoring in Abuja, and I was one of the persons that hated Islam. As a matter of fact, when I was a Christian,
you see, he was one of the persons that hated Islam. And that is one of the reasons he became an Islamic person today. Why? Because it's the law of the opposite. Anything that you are fighting, you are not, that's why Jesus said, you are not called to hate. Don't hate anybody. But the Nigerian church is to blame for this man's conversion. Not just his pastor. Because the whole Nigerian church is teaching Christians to hate Muslims. That is not Christianity. Any church or any doctrine that teaches you to hate your enemy or to hate other religion or to hate Muslims, you are not a Christian. That is not Christianity. And since that is the Christianity that is practiced in Nigeria, that is the Christianity that most Nigerians believe in, they have not known Christianity. They have not known Christ. And that doctrine alone, to hate your enemy and to hate the Muslims, that doctrine alone will backfire us. That doctrine alone will backfire. And maybe one day I will do a series on Islam and on the rise of Islam and the reason why, nobody should be a Muslim. I have a series like that, why nobody should be a Muslim. Anybody in their right sense, after they finish listening to me, they will know there is no need to be a Muslim. But this guy was a pastor of a charismatic Pentecostal church. And because he didn't know Christ the way Christ is, because Christ is not the Christ that hates your enemy. Christ is not Christianity that says that hate Muslims, but he was a pastor and he hated Muslims. And I will tell you that is not the only one in Nigeria like that. I will tell you that most of these pastors in Nigeria, in all these charismatic churches, they hate Muslims, especially Southerners. Now, I still know that there are some Northern Christians who are still real, and they love Muslims. Even though they are the ones that are being killed, they are killing them, but they love Muslims. They love their enemy. But the South, this Christian South, they have taught us that Islam and Muslims and Hausas and Fulanis are our enemy. And that doctrine is what is going to backfire. Just like people say, for example, they hate gays. And then they discover gay has become their mayor. Gay has become their president. They hate women. Women shouldn't have votes. And by the time women shouldn't wear trousers. And by the time you discover women are now the prime minister. Women, you don't hate anything. We are not called to hate. Anything you hate will come back to hurt you. We don't hate anything. We don't hate people. We hate sin. We hate unrighteousness, but we don't hate people. We love people. We love enemies. But let's continue hearing this guy.
I cannot give indulgence with what my pastors here have given. I cannot sit in the midst of Muslims to argue something. But one of the things that happened, I have an encounter with Allah. Not that somebody came to preach to me and said, become a Muslim. But it came to a time, there is something that transpired between I and my general overseer. And that thing that transpired, we did not fight. He loved me more than any other pastors in the church. But there's one thing he asked me to do. I say, I will not compromise in doing it. Instead of compromising in involving in this atrocity, I will better live the Christianity.
Stop.
That night,
You see, he said he will better leave Christianity, or not because he had an encounter. You see, he didn't have an encounter until he was disillusioned. It was something that happened between him and his pastor, G.O., his general superintendent or general overseer, that told him to do something that his conscience would not allow him to do. He said, rather than doing this thing, I would rather leave Christianity. So it is the atrocities. It is the atrocities that are happening in churches. You see, the people, the crowd right now, who are still coming to those churches, is because they are not close enough to see the atrocities that are going on in the system itself. Like, for example, if you are a member of Redeemed Church or Christ Embassy, and you are not in the inner caucus, you might not know what's going on. That is, but this man was already in the inner caucus, and he already knew what was going on. And by the time he began to encounter that, because the pastor loved him more than everybody else, he could begin to open up to him and ask him to do some compromising thing. And the man said, I would rather leave Christianity. And once he made that pronouncement with his mouth, that I would rather leave Christianity, he has cut off himself, and he opened from protection, and he opened himself off to the spirits. And that spirit came and brought Islam to him. It's a spirit, it's a familiar spirit that brought to him that, Allah Akbar or whatever he said he got in the dream.
I slept. I had an encounter. The encounter I had was I saw 5 persons. I was sitting in their middle, and they were having beards. Some of their beards were bigger than my own. Some of their beards were like our malam. And just the way our malam grace, they tied their toga, and they surrounded me. They were reciting La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. So in that trance, I was also reciting La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. My wife slapped me. He said, what are you saying? You are singing Muslim song. I said,
you see the way these Muslims are happy. They are satisfied. They are gratified that, you see, it's not just the conversion of this man alone, but the satisfaction, the affirmation is giving them Islamic faith. And the affirmation is giving them, Muslims that, yes, we know that Christianity is not the way. Now they are pastors, they are leaders, not just members, leaders are the ones coming. They are pastors are the ones coming. Because the man saw atrocities in his church with his Geo. All these atrocities are everywhere, almost in every church in Nigeria. What we are calling church and Christianity in Nigeria is not Christianity. And like I'm saying, I'm going to repeat again. That is why I'm going through a lot of sacrifice to do what I'm doing. But the last one I've just launched is the mentorship program. I'm paying a lot of expenses to make sure that everybody that wants to know the truth, what Christianity is all about, want to get their brain, detox from the Nigerian Christianity. You want to know what Christianity is all about, that everybody will be able to afford it. So I made that mentorship class for free, even though it's costing up to $3,000 per person. But for everybody, we are going to pay for it ourselves. And it is a program of detoxification for you to know Christ for yourself, to know how to walk with God, how to be a friend of God, and how to have personal relationship with God. So if you have not yet entered into that program, the mentorship program, please go look for it. It's easy. Just go to my blog, www.sundayadelaja, that's my name, blog. It has to be one word, sundayadelajablog.com. sundayadelajablogging.com/mentorship. So sundayadelajablogging.com/mentorship. Go register for free. If you are going to be getting $3,000 worth of material, worth of knowledge for free. That $3,000 in a year. And this program is for 5 years. So, you can do 1 year, you can do 2, you can do as much as you like, but it's going to go to PhD level. It's a program that is supposed to give you BSc, BA, MA, MSc, and whatever you want, to the level of PhD. That is the program we have developed. So if you have not yet joined that mentorship program, find your way to sundayadelajablogging.com/mentorship, because we need to re-educate the mind of Africans and Nigerians. And this is not just for Africans, it's for everybody. We need to re-educate the mind of everybody to know that what we were taught in Nigeria is not Christianity, for Christ's sake. Because some of them have never been able to travel out of the country, so they don't even know another Christianity. Or some of them were born less than 40 years ago, so they don't know what is Christianity. That's why I started this mentorship program, to reintroduce Christ and life and principle of life to our people. But anyway, let's continue with this.
The blood of Jesus. As a matter of fact, I condemned it. But what happened was, I had to go to a couple and ask him, look at the dream I had. I want you to give me interpretation of that dream. He said the interpretation of that dream, if you have the spirit tormenting you, they can pray such kind of prayer to cancel that spirit. I said, that I'm not a Muslim. Your God have no right to deliver me. Why that thing transpired? He told me that Allah has his ways when he wants to call people. Allah chooses to call men in different ways. But, Pastor, maybe Allah is calling you. I went back home. I began to. The dream I had was recorded in my memory. I was reciting that La ilaha illallah, even when I was not pronouncing it, but it was repeating in my memory. That is how I become a Muslim. Allah.
You people don't even know what's going on with me right now. The shock that I'm undergoing. That this is an Igbo man, pastor. Have never seen anything like this. A pastor from Nigeria, from the southern Nigeria. Okay.
I have a little encouragement to give us. One sweet thing about Islam. Islam is a total way of life. Islam practicalized the worship of Allah. Most days in Christianity we say,
you hear what he's saying? Islam practicalizes the practice of Allah. Islam is a total way of worship of God. The young people, they want total dedication. They want truthfulness. They want total, reality. They want truthfulness. They want faith in God that is, pure, that is total, absolute. Of course, nobody is perfect, but they want the pure gospel. That's what he needed. He wanted the pure gospel, since he didn't see that with his pastors and his father, because father is a pastor too, and his Jew. He's looking for it, and he found that dedication, that total dedication in Islam.
Our Father in heaven, we glorify your name, we bow down before you, and we are standing. Allah. Are we not lying? That is lie. When you say, I bow down before you, you should practicalize it by bowing down. That is Islam for you. I will not want to digress by what they say.
Stop. Basically, what he's saying is that we want the Christianity that works. We want practical Christianity. And what our people are preaching in Nigeria, the only practical part of it is give your money.
But I want to tell you, let us take away the IQ that Islam kills. When you read the hadith, there is a place that the prophet said that whenever someone kills, the law is that the person must kill, but there is a condition. You must make sure the weight of that knife must be as heavy as the knife they use in stabbing person. You must make sure it must be exactly that point you will stab that person. The quantity of blood that will rush out and the time and minutes that person dies will be the same time that person will die. A man who gives such an order, did he ask you to kill or not? Is it possible to retaliate at that particular way? That simply means Islam prohibits killings. May Allah help us. Alhamdulillah. Takbir! Takbir! What is it from the horse's mouth? It's not big, and if you listen to his speech, we know that it's actually coming from that side. Allah has guided him. He has, when you go to Zuba, before you buy Zuba, you see some of his posters there, up till now.
Stop. Can you believe it? The man is still having his posters all over the city hanging. But he was a pastor, he was doing crusades. And his posters are still all over the city as a pastor. And now he's already testifying with the Muslims. But stop. The thing that before I finish with this video, you will see that he's not the only pastor who came here to testify. There is another pastor now and another evangelist who is coming here also to give their lives and to testify right now.
So we are going to short it like that, please. I want to call on Muhammad.
Even the one who is speaking now is a Southerner. And it's not a Yoruba man. And he's already a pastor, a Muslim imam. Okay.
You can see, when pastors are coming into Islam, they decide to take the name of Muhammad.
Did you hear what he said? When pastors come into Islam, they decide to take the name of Muhammad. So they know pastors. Now it's like a movement of pastors converting to Islam.
After Jesus Christ is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I want to quickly introduce another pastor, but now known as.
Stop. You see the man that is holding that is poster. You see this man. He's an Igbo man himself, or Niger Delta man, that is holding the poster of the other guy to show that we are many. We are many pastors or Christians who are converting to Islam. You see another one now.
Muhammad Igwe.
Stop. There's another one, Mohammed Igwe. He changed his name to Mohammed Igwe. How can you be a Muslim, Igwe, and be Mohammed? But they said he changed his name. Okay.
From the same age. Mama Igwe, please. I want to give you 1 minute and 59 seconds, please. 1 minute 59 seconds. One time evangelist. Please let's try out.
Can you believe it? This is Mohammed Igwe. He's already dressing like them even. One-time pastor. And he said he was an evangelist too. You see, these are all the tragedies and the catastrophes happening in our country because of the atrocities of the pastors and because of the kind of doctrines we are practicing. What we call Christianity is not Christianity. We are not those people, those churches that we call Christian churches, the popular churches, the big churches. They don't have anything to do with Christianity. They are not Christian churches. They are just using the name of Christ. All these churches that I'm going to be, and the reason why I'm just going to review, all these 4 churches is just because they are the most, popular and they are the most visible. But, they are all the other ones too. They are the same.